Blog Talk Radio.
Here at ACO Radio, American Communications Online, or any affiliated stations or websites are not responsible for what guest hosts or call-ins may say. All programming is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Hello, world. This is T.J. Morris with American Communications Online and T.J. Morris ET Radio and Aquarian Radio syndicating together tonight on Friday. It is May 8th, 2020, and we are so happy to be syndicating a friend of ours that is in our metaphysical, spiritual, paranormal community that I hope you guys will like to meet. I know I'm excited about it. I've never really talked to him except right before this on the planet. So welcome aboard, as I said, all you ground troops spinning around smartly. We have learned to work together in social networking in these trying times on the planet. And I have asked my BFF forever in more lives than this one to join me tonight because she happened to have met the gentleman, I think it's serendipity, synchronicities, that Jim Grapek and I have been apparent friends in social media, at least that I can find on LinkedIn since January 2017. Now, let me tell you a little about Jim Grapek, and Janet might want to add more because she's known him longer than I have. She actually met the man. Jim's training in physics, metaphysics, communications, business, health, and the arts all come together in the Pavilion. With a BS from the Newhouse School in Syracuse and a master's from Cornell's SC, I guess Johnson College of Business Hotel School, Jim's career life and leadership highlights include notable success in the fields of hospitality, healthcare, fitness, and filmmaking. Jim ran the fine dining at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts and founded a successful national press building-based production company that ran for over 20-plus profitable years. Jim wrote, produced, and directed one of the Discovery Channel's highest-rated specials, Secrets of the Warrior's Power. He holds 2 black belts in Asian martial arts. He is board-certified health practitioner in biofeedback. He enjoys cooking, playing a guitar, and motorsports. Now, he is much more than that as an entrepreneur and a director of a nonprofit, but Janet Carol Lessin of Hawaii is a friend of mine that I met in Hawaii and my spiritual path, and we were both in the spiritual center, your spiritual center, and she came to one of my Ascension Psychic Network affairs, and so she goes to these affairs. She's always loved events and being a part of people. She's a great social networker, and my friend since 94, we're writing a book together, and she's been with me in radio as my co-host and me hers for going on 8 years, June 6th. So let me get her on here and let her tell you about her idea of meeting Jim Grapek, and I think they were Sitchenites, or at least authors together. Janet Carol Lessin, can you hear me now?
Hi. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Teresa. Jim and I met, I believe it was in 2005 in Florida at one of the Zechariah Sitchin events. And Zechariah has since passed in 2010. And I really don't remember too much about it. But Jim, if that's not correct, please correct me. But that's when I think we met. But this is the first real conversation that I will be having with Jim since that. So it's a long time ago, 15 years ago. So I would like to get right to the meat of it because we've got a lot to cover, and 2 hours goes really fast. And I'm not sure if we're going to make 2 hours tonight, but let's see. Jim, hi, welcome.
Well, would you like to introduce yourself? And he's on mute, but
yeah.
Tell us about you in Hawaii real quick, and I'll pull him on, and we'll let him take the show, and all of that. But tell people about you, Janet. You've had a lot to do in Hawaii that Jim may not know of. 15 years is a long time, because I know you want. This is about him and his show. Tell people about you.
Right. Basically, I'm living over here in Maui, Hawaii, with my wonderful husband, Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin, and we are researchers and interviewers. We have Aquarian Radio, and we do 2, 3, 4 shows a week, and now we're expanding into getting interviewed by other people even more. I have an agent now booking me, and we're also counselors, authors. We've written about 10 books. We have 5 on the Anunnaki. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on me, but then we're doing relationship counseling and spiritual growth counseling. So my husband has a PhD in anthropology and counseling psychology, and I met him almost 24 years ago. And we fell in love and moved in together and got married. So we've been working in a counseling practice for many, many years and done workshops and speaking at conferences like Contact in the Desert, and we're having a fun life together. So, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on me because I know Jim, I spoke with him briefly, and I'm not sure if he can be able to go through the whole show. So let's, without further ado, bring on Jim Grapek. Let him tell us about himself, okay?
All right, Jim Grapek, you're live and on the air.
Hi, Jim.
Well, that's a great. Who's that? That's a great introduction. Who's that guy? I want to meet him.
He's amazing.
Thanks. No, I was saying, I had some fish earlier, like I wolfed down for dinner. So hopefully my stomach's a little funny, but we'll give it a shot here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
So what?
Yeah, be the best you can be.
Yeah, let's see. Yes, it was either Florida or Arizona or just somewhere around there. I agree with Zachariah
I'm not
Pitson.
sure. Yeah, it could have been Arizona.
Yeah, I think it was Arizona.
Were you at the first certification program in New Mexico?
Maybe, yeah.
With Cody and Robin Johnson, they were the Prophets Conference people. Was that the one? And they made a documentary.
Familiar. I'm not. I think my memory isn't. I don't hold on to some of that stuff. So yeah, sounds kind of.
Yeah,
familiar.
I don't either. Okay, it's not. Important.
Anyway, yeah. So interesting times, huh? Pretty crazy. I guess we should have expected it. As I was saying earlier, we had a brief conversation that. I guess I've always had a foot in both camps. You know, on one side, it's funny, I mean, seeing UFOs as a kid, a teenager in front of me pretty close, and thinking nothing of it other than, oh, cool, you know, I guess this technology exists. And that's what actually got me to go into physics, because I thought, I can help, discover that stuff. And then I remember going to, later in life, I'm at a Smithsonian. I'm here in Washington. And the Smithsonian has a cool program called the Resident Associates Program. So you could, as someone local, it's nice because you can go down and they have lectures all the time. And there happened to be one about warp drive, the future warp drive and stuff. And I thought, cool, so I went down to that. And I got to say, I was really not just disappointed, I was angry, because the speaker said there will never be warp drive. It's totally impossible because the energy you need to overcome the mass and yada, yada, yada. So he was basically just saying, can't happen, doesn't exist. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, isn't science supposed to be about here we are today, but there's things we still haven't discovered, Isn't that what it's about? We're supposed to be always learning and growing. This guy just shut everybody off. Any of these younger people in there that were really thinking about maybe careers in aerospace or something, this guy just turned them off. I know, just got to stick with it, jets and airplanes or whatever. So, and we know that's not true. Actually, I filmed a talk by Hal Puthoff, which I think you guys know. a couple of weeks ago, really, talking about To the Stars Academy, what's going on, remote viewing. I mean, it covered a whole lot of things. And he said, actually, I think it was a French physicist, but with Einstein's relativity equations, not special relativity, but general relativity, you can have warp drive. Absolutely. And it's really interesting. So they have that. I mean, these guys are working on it. I think you and I, a lot of us know, obviously, they're already doing this stuff. But so,
let me interject something about that before I just, because it's very relevant right here when we're talking. I have this guest coming on named Dan Cooper, and he's on the 31st, and he's already working on the patents for warp drive, because I don't know if you're familiar with the 20 and Back program that the whistleblowers are talking about.
Sure.
So he's been in the secret space program. And anyway, he already has stuff going, but he's also identified what the government has. So I think with what is that new branch of the service, the space program, the one that Trump announced.
Space Force.
The Space Force, yes. So, and then I've had Dan Cooper the last 3 or 4 years, and he's been talking about what, he's going to bring to the surface. So we did about 4 or 5 shows, and he said, oh, guess what? The government's going ahead, and they're putting patents in place, which are searchable, and you can access them. So he's going to talk all about that on the 31st, but I think that I know it already exists because of all the whistleblowers and experiencers and contactees that I talk to. But he says, no, they're starting to make it, public. So I think there's going to be something with. Yes, go ahead.
I have some of them upstairs. The ones that are public, I got from a friend who's a consultant, an aerospace engineer, and he was very surprised to see public patents on anti-gravity and different types of thrust and so on, and nuclear fission, fusion. But I think, as we talked about, look, a lot of people don't know about this or don't care. It doesn't matter. Look, but a lot of the technology we have and where we're going to be going is going to change rapidly. My understanding in the next couple of years, and that's what Hal was hinting at. Not only that, and this is kind of off topic because I didn't come on a plan to talk about this, but he's gotten like the go ahead from the government or Pentagon or whoever some of the muckety mucks are to start putting out information on other life forms. I thought that was really interesting, and I'm talking about not just corporeal life forms like physical, like you and I or us, but non-physical life forms, which goes back, of course, in our own history, everywhere from possessions in the church, right?
Right.
And that probably today a lot of people think is nonsense, but a lot of us know it's absolutely true. I work with patients. I sometimes have to pull out entities or possessions that they have that are actually carrying a disease or responsible for their symptoms. And personally, I can't wait till the world, till medicine, we wake up everybody and have a new system where imagine, and there was a psychologist, PhD author, Edith Fiore, who wrote a book called The Unquiet Dead. Yeah. And she found through hypnosis and regression that sometimes she wasn't talking to her patient. She was talking to somebody that, like a ghost, an earthbound spirit, whatever you want to call it, that maybe hooked into this person while they were in a hospital setting or, would drink too much or whatever it might be. And when she was able to help them clear this ghost out, say, shoo, go home, the person who perhaps had, and in one case they had kidney problems, they all went away, kidney disease. As soon as the ghost was gone, the kidney disease was fine. It resolved itself.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a lot easier and cheaper than having to go through surgery, medication, and having a miserable life, right?
Right,
so, look, it's worth a shot. And of course, it's not everybody, but it definitely in my so I work with